In this video, I'm going to do a stock analysis on Atossa Therapeutics, or ticker symbol ATOS. I currently have 500 shares, and at the time of the recording, it's trading at just $3.50, and it has 1,000% growth potential. This stock has had very successful phase 2 studies, so successful that they've actually halted their studies so that they can go straight into clinical studies in the United States. This is a super highly anticipated stock, so be sure to watch until the end because I'm going to do a quick summary of the company, talk about the recent news, financials, go through my technical analysis and tell you guys where to look for entries and exits, then give you guys my price targets for both short-term and long-term investors. Before I talk about that, I want to mention that in my last week's video I talked about Globalstar, and since then the stock has gone up 114%. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on these moves, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That being said, let's get right into today's video. Atossa Therapeutics is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company that's current focus is on breast cancer and COVID-19. A lot of people are beginning to start talking about the stock because they recently halted an ongoing phase 2 clinical trial because the results were overwhelmingly positive. I'll get into the details of this study later in the video, but this is huge news because it's going to allow them to accelerate clinical development a year ahead of when they thought they were going to be starting. They have also launched a new drug development program for COVID-19. They are developing a therapy to improve lung function and reduce the amount of time that COVID-19 patients are on ventilators. They have 3 products right now that have been very successful in their phases so far, and we have been getting news of many of these starting to break through these trials. Their first product is the COVID-19 nasal spray, which is targeted towards at-home patients who have just been diagnosed and only have minor to mid-range symptoms. This is in the phase 2 trial, and they have found that it's best for reducing symptoms. Another COVID product they have is the H2O1, which is in phase 1 trials, and it's found to improve lung function. This is more for severe patients who are very ill, and this is hopefully going to attack the cause early and help reduce the deaths from the pandemic. Their most anticipated product is endoxifen, which is their breast cancer related product that has been getting really promising results. Breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in women around the world, and the breast cancer therapeutics market size was $21.5 billion in 2019, and it's projected to reach $55 billion by 2027. Endoxifen is the drug they are developing to reduce mammographic breast density and for the patients who have recently been diagnosed with the most common type of breast cancer to reduce tumor activity prior to surgery. They have 2 phase 2 trials for endoxifen. The first is called the window of opportunity because it is the active time period between diagnosis and surgery. And the primary goal of this is to reduce the Ki-67 tumor cell activity, which has been very successful because in their Australian phase 2 study, they saw a 76% reduction in Ki-67, which is an important threshold to improve long-term survival. This was another huge win for Atossa because they are now that much closer to phase 3 trials, which would be another huge catalyst for the stock. This was so successful that they actually halted the study so that they can accelerate clinical development in the United States. This catalyst caused a lot of momentum behind the stock, which is why you might be seeing more awareness of this stock on various platforms. So it's no surprise that there's a bunch of hype behind this stock right now. And as more awareness about this stock is spread and more YouTube videos like this one are being made, it's only going to draw more traders and investors to the company, which will only drive the stock price up further. And to me, the next catalyst will be when endoxifen enters their phase 3 trials for the drug, and I am very confident that this will happen in the future. And Atossa has been gaining a lot of momentum as we can see on Google Trends, StockTwits, Reddit, and YouTube. One of the great things about this company is that they have 0 debt. A lot of clinical stage companies load up on debt and blow through a lot of cash because it's so expensive to get through these phases and trials. So the fact that this company has 0 debt is outstanding, and on top of that they have $9.2 million in cash plus $81 million net from capital raises. On top of that, they have $13.4 million in assets and just $1.3 million in liabilities, which is another unbelievable stat for a company in this industry. This to me makes the company stand out the most against all these other clinical biopharmaceutical companies because they are in such a great financial situation. Some well-known institutions are heavily invested into this stock, but what really grabs my attention is that in the last year, 17 institutions have increased their position size and only 3 institutions have decreased their positions. Vanguard and Morgan Stanley being the top institutions who increased their positions. This is super promising that these big-time institutions are riding heavy on this stock. They also met their last earnings, and analysts shortly after gave Atossa a $6.25 average price target. Now on the chart of Atossa, we can see that we have tapped into this daily resistance at around $4.50 per share. Going down to the 1 hour time frame, we can see that we seem to be respecting this trend line as well as the 50-day exponential moving average. From here, I would want to see a support being formed so that we can go up and retest these highs. This is a potential day and swing trading opportunity that I will be watching out for this week. If you are a longer term investor, I think this could be a good area to add onto your positions. I also like to look at the worst case scenario, and I think that would be if we break this trend line, we could fall down to $2.50 to $3 per share. But with this current momentum, I think that it's more likely that we'll bounce off this trend line and continue up for the rest of the week. Going back out to the daily time frame, I think a good price target for short-term buyers will be the $8 mark because we have a very strong supply zone in this area. I hope that gave you guys some ideas of where to look for entries and exits for the stock. Now I'm going to give my price targets for the stock. Atossa Therapeutics is having great success in their endoxifen trials, and they are well equipped to finance this drug through their phases with the cash that they have on hand. Some positive news about their studies has brought a lot of investors to the stock, so there will be a lot of eyes on them in the coming weeks to keep up with the results of their upcoming clinical trials. There are lots of opportunities to enter in on this stock before we reach the shorter term target of $8 per share. I think this company has a lot of long-term potential, and if they can get commercialization of this drug, the stock would skyrocket. And with the positive results from their studies, I think that this could be a promising outcome. Assuming that we can get commercialization, I think in the coming years we can see $20 to $25 per share. But because there's always a possibility that these companies don't deliver on what they're doing, I don't put more than 2% of my money into any individual penny stock, and I like to keep a diverse portfolio. I almost always sell my position when a company fails a trial or gets a negative catalyst, and I recommend that you guys do the same. Also guys, I want to take the time to thank you guys for all the support given to me on my previous video, Atossa Holdings. I spend most of my waking day researching these stocks and organizing all of the information into a single video for you guys. So when I see this type of engagement on a video, it truly does motivate me to keep pushing out these videos. I hope you guys are taking the information given and using it to your advantage, because my personal portfolio is up over 35% this week alone, and I hope you guys are profiting with me. Also guys, I'm extremely active in the comment section, so if you ever have any questions, please feel free to comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Also, let me know if you guys would be interested in a free Discord so that we can start to build up a little community and talk about stocks together. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. It really helps motivate me to keep making these videos, and it shows me your support. But with that being all said, I'll see you guys in my next video.